you run the school co-working project, yeah?
Not quite.
Okay, so we will listen to find out.
Why it was related with ISM is because I was working with Auremus for the last 2 years. A bit about myself, I think. Why I'm talking about co-creation and innovation in education is because that I've spent the last 3 years working in such field. I've spent working with mokykloje, so it's high achievers, students, kūrybinės, so it's creative partnerships for you from abroad. I worked with 8 schools, continuous learning cycles. What Auremus was talking about, business and students, I was doing pretty much the same with the teachers. Leader incubators, mentorship program, įmonė, art of hosting in education and co-creating communities. There's also projects and organizations that were active during that time. And through that I gained competence to speak about creativity and what it needs to be aspired in an organization. When we're talking about creativity, we, or at least teachers, most often imagine it like this. Let's put on some tinfoil hats, let's put lots of post-its around us, and everything will be creative. Everything will be nice, and we will achieve something. But that's a false intuition. I do not agree with that, and I think that creativity starts from a bit elsewhere. When I think about creativity and just before arriving to organization, I think about creativity as something like that. Some sort of road with very limited guidelines, but eventually you know that at the end you will achieve something. The road will be a bit bumpy, a bit wavy. You don't know what you will encounter. Maybe you will just say, oh crap shit, I'm not swimming anymore. I don't want to do that. But that's what's required for true creativity. Creativity is finding connections. Finding connections between different parts, different knowledge, different people. Finding connections between different experiences that people already had. And that requires sharing. That's not very common in our environment, let's say, to share everything. And creativity basically is limited by the obvious stuff. If I ask you a question, who of you can imagine integrated learning? Do you know what's integrated learning? How it kind of looks like? Yes, audience knows. I know that.
You mean disabled persons?
No, integruotos pamokos. That's basically when people, teachers from different subjects, they decide, oh, let's do a project together. Let's do something together. Let's look at one particular thing from 3 different perspectives. And most often in Lithuania, what is perceived by that is, let's say the history teacher knows that, okay, the topic is Egypt this month. So this means that in art class, people will be drawing lots of pyramids, let's say. In math, they will be learning how to do something with pyramids, how to calculate stuff about that, yes? In physics, they will be learning why why pyramids heat up because of the sun, and etc. And this eventually will look like, yes, that's a very creative process. We achieved so much. We were working together, and we learned so much while working together. But basically, it's 3 teachers, and 2 of them are not needed. You don't need an art teacher to draw a triangle, yes? You don't need a math teacher to learn that, or vice versa. So you have 2 teachers at least wasting their time and thinking that they are creative. That's shit. And why it's like that, it's because people lack security. When I'm talking about creativity, at first is establishing a sense of security. A security between each other, a security to talk about stuff that you think that matters. And to tell ideas, most of you, I think, really had some sort of ideas about integrated learning. Who of you had? Come on, some had, yes? But it was not so secure to say, oh yes, I do have an idea. Yes? You did not share. And eventually what happens in the creative process, people grab the ideas that are most relevant, most common, and that are secure to say, because everybody will agree. When you establish a great sense of security that comes from sitting in a circle, you achieve something like this. You achieve circles in which people work together. Yeah, Aurimas was talking a lot about circles. That's because we are working according to the same methodology. But basically you have to discuss and talk about stuff. And people, especially teachers, they cannot say that they don't know something. Imagine you are working for 10, 15 years pretending that you know really everything, and you have to suddenly say to your colleagues, fellow teachers, fellas, I don't know how to teach my children. That's kind of suicide in the school. You're a teacher, you have to know stuff. And especially when you ask people, especially teachers, why we can't use Google during the tests. And they say, oh, no, why? That's not fair, yeah? But basically what they are saying, we don't know how to create tasks that would require Google. Yeah, they say we're not creative enough. Well, they're not saying that, they have that inside, but they're too afraid because they don't have the sense of security. And they are like those bats. They sit in their cave. Yes, I'm not telling to everybody, I'm not talking to anybody, I have my own space. And when your job is to change their perspective and to tell them that, okay fellas, we have to do something, we have to dance, we have to create something. You have to do something about it. Imagine that you are learning past continuous time and past simple through chemistry and physics. Who can see the relation between those? No? Not yet. Okay. This is one of the projects I spent 1 year working with one very small school. And the goal was to make the whole school integrated. This means that 1 day per week, the whole school runs integrated lessons. So there are 100 students, all the teachers mix up, they make integrated learning experiences for kids. The difference is that to make this, teachers had to admit one thing, that they don't know how to teach kids, how to define past continuous, or how to recognize past continuous from past simple, because they both are about past times. And the chemistry teacher said, you know, my kids don't know the difference between physical and chemical events. And these, after talking, how the whole process goes. It's like we sit in the circles and we talk. But first we establish a common ground, a common understanding of why you are here, why you are doing this. Eventually people start to create the future together. They see the vision. It's not like from some sort of law that, oh, we should do this and that, and you have to achieve such results. No, people are sitting and saying, oh, we need a daycare center in the school. Oh, we need a cafeteria. We need barbers somehow. And they create their future. And when they are working, they are thinking about what they have already created. They have that in mind. And when you know that you are working with people, you know those people, you know the future that you are all working for, you start creating concrete ideas. You say, hey, I have an idea. Hey, I don't know something. Hey, I want to improve. And improvement means I want to fail, and I want to know why I failed, and I want to fail better next time. This is how that project came up. I can explain a little bit. Physical events, as well as past continuous, they don't have the ending. You can mash the paper, you can put the coins in any way you like, they don't change. Past simple, as well as chemical events, it has an ending. You mix two different substances, that you have the third, the new one, as well as the stuff from past simple. And children were learning through that. And eventually when there was a test, they were referring to themselves, is this a physical event or this is a chemical event? They were doing English tests. And they learned something. Teachers learned something. But at first they learned to trust each other by admitting that, oh well, I don't know something. And for a moment I would invite you to imagine that you are teachers. Tonight you got a little bit too drunk, and tomorrow you woke up as a teacher. Boom. And try to think about that. What would you teach yes? With keeping in mind all your knowledge, you have some sort of life knowledge, yes? You have already had experience, you know how the world works. What would you teach? And how would you teach it? Think about it for a while. It's good that it's Saturday tomorrow and you will have Sunday to think about more. And eventually, when you will come to the principal on the Monday morning, and you will say, hey, you know, I do have a very good idea how to teach people, let's say, economics. Yeah? The principal will say, sorry, there is no money in the budget. Because there is none. In Lithuania, there is no budget for creative projects. And that's why people who establish communities, who make some sort of creative initiatives, they don't have great possibility to achieve more. What they do is relatively a basic form of crowdfunding. Yeah? They send a note to the parents and say, okay, give us 10 euros and we will invite you to your child's play or something like that. And it's a very primitive thing. But that's what communities need. Creativity needs community at first to inspire brave ideas, and that community needs resources. And crowdfunding, as it's a very small example, for me is an answer to inspiring creativity and teaching business or life skills in schools. And if you can get stuff from broader community, you can get something like a Kickstarter. We started working together with Kęstutis. Actually, if you combine Kickstarter and a school, what do you get? Yes, our new project. This is Kęstutis. Our team fits into one kayak, and our first real business development meeting was while kayaking 80 kilometers. This is from that day, I think so. And we thought, why not? High achievers need tools to achieve more. High achieving teachers need tools and money to achieve more. I've spent time working with excellent schools where even people from Japan, Finland, or States come to visit and to see how they work. I've spent time working with ex-colony, children colony for the last 2 months. The contexts are very different, and all of those people need money. So we thought, why not? Why not create a platform that would inspire talents to achieve more and give them tools, at least, to achieve more? Schools is one example. I come from education. Kęstutis comes from sports. Why don't give a prospective sportsman a new bike, a carbon one, yes, to ride fast and achieve more? And this does not cost that much when we all chip in. Gabus.lt, that's the crowdfunding platform for schools that we are already making and planning to publish at some point in a few days. And right now we're looking for projects who would like to participate. For creative people who would like to do something more, achieve more, and to do something good with education, or in the education field, or in sports at least. And this is it. Thank you. Questions?
Yeah. Who is the first to ask?
Why should I go to the Gabus.lt and not Kickstarter?
Because it's not so Lithuanian, basically. Yes, if you want to achieve to gather more funds, let's say 10,000, 20, 30, 40, wherever. Yes, you can go to Kickstarter. But imagine you are raising funds for 200 euros. Yes? It would get lost in the Kickstarter. There are lots of projects in the Kickstarter and it would get lost in that pile. This is somehow we're thinking about a space where people can exchange knowledge. This means that teacher from Klaipėda, who is teaching 5th graders, can see what Vilnius teacher from, let's say, some sort of school, what is he doing with his 5th grader, yes? You're exchanging information. And basically people from Lithuania can see that, okay, this is a specialized one. And you can go to this one to support people from Lithuania, at least at this point, and not to get, well, not to get lost in all the stuff that's in Kickstarter.
What you're assuming is that people will share, right? That the teachers, for instance, will share what they do with each other.
this is the side effect.
You assume this is what will happen, I mean, on the platform.
Yes.
There will be openness and there will be the possibility to share. That will beg the question, do you already have people who will be on this platform, assurances of people that will be?
Yeah, tomorrow we are actually having a workshop to prepare for crowdfunding strategies, to help them prepare crowdfunding strategies. And yes, we're working on that. And
because it will be too assumptive to create something and hope the market
yeah.
will take.
Actually, this idea came from the thought that the project, one of the projects that I've spent working 2 years, I think, it had 150 schools where creative teachers were already coached how to do such projects. But the EU funding ended and they don't have the resources. And the basic resources, I think, that we used was around 200 euros. And with that, we could last half a year and do something very interesting. This also means that we can crowdfund the social capital, we can crowdfund the talents. This means let's invite designers, let's invite other people, but that's not for this version, let's say, it's not for tomorrow. But we are planning about crowdfunding also talents and other people who would like to participate. So it's
Not just in Lithuania.
not just in Lithuania, but Gabus LT will be just in Lithuania. We're thinking about, at first, Baltic region because it has similar problems with education, similar systems, and etc. Also planning to expand a bit more worldwide. There are some, yes, there are some other platforms that can offer something like that, but they're not that specialized, or they are specializing in, let's say, let's buy chalk, let's buy paper, and etc., but not the concrete projects. So we are working in that direction.